Welcome to Authentic Influence. This is Anthony Chancemuth from Simple Creative Marketing. And today we are talking about how to grow your business using referrals. And I have a cool guest joining me all the way from Mexico, Cancun to be precise. And he's going to tell us all about that in a moment. So Raul Galera is the Chief Advocate at ReferralCandy, an app that allows e-commerce brands to set up and run customer referral programs. Raul currently leads ReferralCandy's partnership efforts, working alongside agencies, media, and tech companies. Referral marketing is a blend of organic content, community marketing, and influencer marketing. And we'll break down what those different things are because there is a lot of confusion in the space around just the different definitions. And word of mouth is a powerful channel for both successful global names as well as new niche brands. So let's bring in Raul. Raul, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's just jump into before you joined, you talking about sort of moving around Mexico and doing this bit of a nomad type thing. What's that all about? And you know, how did you get into this position where you're doing this thing and you're traveling around and working at the same time, I guess?
Yeah. So I guess the seed of what I'm doing right now, kind of like the origin, it's when I was living in Chile in Santiago. I'm from Spain, just kind of for context. So after college, I moved to Santiago in Chile to work for a French startup, and I lived there for a couple of years, but I had an office job basically. I mean, I like my job there, but it was just a kind of like a regular office job. But I was working at a co-working space with a bunch of other entrepreneurs that were running their business kind of remotely. This was back in 2014, 15. So, you know, the concept of work and travel wasn't really that common back then. So I thought it was really cool. Like I would meet with all these people that, that they will go to Buenos Aires for the weekend, and then they will spend a week in Medellin, and then they'll go up to the US and then back down to Chile again. And I thought it was, the coolest thing in the world. So I decided that I wanted to get a remote job. And so while I was looking for, I actually wanted to get a remote job, but I also wanted to get into tech because I was working for a recruiting firm back then. And so I started looking for software companies that would be open to hire somebody remotely. And I came across ReferralCandy on AngelList. I personally loved the product. I mean, I come from a sales background, so I always look at products in terms of how easy would this be to sell, and I thought that ReferralCandy was probably kind of like a no-brainer for a lot of brands. So I figured it would be an easy sell. And so I saw a sales job that they had posted on AngelList, and instead of applying through AngelList, I actually sent a cold email to the CEO, and we had a couple of calls, and yeah, I'm still here. So
That's fantastic, man. I love this the courage, I suppose, to actually send that cold email and just go, I'm going straight to the CEO. Don't worry about the HR process. And I think that's something that I think a lot of people don't do enough of, because obviously remote work has taken off since the pandemic. A lot of people were, companies went remote, and now a lot of them going back to hybrid models and whatnot.
Yeah.
But ReferralCandy seems to be still 100% remote. Is that correct?
So actually, ReferralCandy was still a hybrid back then.
Okay.
So we've always had an office in Singapore where our engineering, design, and marketing teams were typically based. And then we had a customer support team working remotely from the Philippines. So we had kind of like, that hybrid there. Obviously, after the pandemic, we're all working remotely. We've also, some of my colleagues have also started to travel as well. Those that were actually based at the office, they're starting to go on the nomad lifestyle as well. I mean, we still don't have an office. We don't really know how that's going to look like. I think we'll get some sort of office, whether it's like a dedicated in space for us in an office building or a co-working space. But I think we'll maintain some sort of like hybrid model because the majority of our employees are still based in Singapore anyway. So it makes sense for them to have a workspace that they can all share.
That's very cool, and I love that you've been doing this long before it became a trend. So you're a trendsetter. Just on the just to give our listeners an idea of the company and can you give us a bit of background? When did the company start? How many clients are you at currently? How many partnership programs have you helped businesses create over the past few years?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually one of the oldest companies in the referral marketing space for e-commerce specifically. So we launched. It's going to be almost 12 years now, and so yeah, we've been around for a while. And we've obviously from the very beginning we've been focused 100% on e-commerce, and so that's the majority of our customers are using Shopify or BigCommerce or WooCommerce or kind of any of the major e-commerce platforms. And basically, what we do is that we allow these brands to set up and run customer referral programs on autopilot. So when we think about our referral program, we typically think of the traditional, give 10, get 10 type of thing, right? Like you get a referral link that you can share with your friends. Your friend gets a discount on their first purchase, and if your friend ends up actually making that purchase, you'll get some sort of reward. So what we do is that we just put that on autopilot, and basically kind of remove the need for the merchant to actually do daily work on the referral program. We make sure that everything is running on autopilot so they can focus on running their business. And like I said, we've been around for almost 12 years now. We've served over 30,000 brands during this decade, and right now we have over 3,000 active merchants that are using ReferralCandy right now for their referral programs.
That's really cool. And I want to get into when you came onto the team, and obviously the work that you've done has evolved, and where you were as a company has shifted over that time. But how important has partnerships been for the growth of ReferralCandy?
So I mean that was actually an experiment that the company wanted to run back in 2016. When I came across it, it was actually really good timing when I kind of pitched the idea of working with ReferralCandy to the CEO, because they were actually looking for somebody that could kickstart a partner program and see how would that look like, and also how would that work. And so it's taken several shapes and forms over the past few years, but right now what we have, it's a partner program that's divided in kind of like 3 different aspects. So the first one is how we work with agencies. So agencies are extremely interesting for us for several reasons. The first one is obviously they have a portfolio of clients that could use ReferralCandy, and so we can, just by having one point of contact, we can help many different brands at the same time. The second is that these agencies, especially marketing agencies, are experts in marketing, and they definitely know the dynamics of referral marketing. So when they install ReferralCandy on their clients' stores and they set up the referral program for them, they're going to have that knowledge on what makes a referral program successful, and we can actually help them achieve that as well. So they're going to make sure that the referral program gets enough promotion. They're going to make sure that the cadence for the referral emails is the right one. So there's that kind of expertise. It definitely helps improve the performance of the referral program. So that's those 2 main reasons are why we love working with e-commerce and marketing agencies. So that would be the first kind of bucket of partners. The second one is affiliates. So people that have a blog about e-commerce or a YouTube channel or has some sort of presence online, whatever the format is, and they want to talk about ReferralCandy and get paid for referrals that they send our way. We definitely have a system for that. And then the third bucket would be other kind of like partnerships with tech companies. So we integrate with several different e-commerce related tools like Klaviyo, like Recharge, like MailChimp. And so we obviously have a partnership for those. We're also looking for, always in the lookout for adding a tool to our tech stack that can help our customers as well. So those are kind of like the 3 main areas in which we typically do partnerships.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I wanted to hear that from you, because we've got a segment of our audience who are sort of SaaS companies building their software platforms, and then we've got I think a small percentage would be e-com, but that's growing, and majority is it's all B2B. So for anyone, we're going to go into just the mechanics of how do you start an e-commerce program, a referral program, and how do you even think about that. I'd like to just understand from you, Raul, like how has referral marketing evolved over the past decade?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of funny to think about it, how ReferralCandy got started. So the the conversation that kind of like started the idea of launching ReferralCandy for our two co-founders, was a conversation with a friend that was running an online store, again back in 2010, and he was trying to figure out a way to leverage Facebook, which back then was a still kind of brand new tool. We're talking about 2010. I was 2009. That's when I got into college. I think that's when I actually got my Facebook account. So it's, it was definitely an emerging social media platform. And so this entrepreneur was looking to figure out ways that he could get his customers to refer their friends using Facebook. So the reality is that referral marketing, as we know it today, has evolved, especially in the e-commerce world, has evolved. Kind of tied to social media, and how social media has evolved over the past few years, and also how e-commerce has grown over, again, also over the past decade, and more specifically in the past couple of years when it's absolutely exploded. But the reality is that referral marketing, it's built on top of something that has existed forever, which is word of mouth. It's probably the oldest marketing channel that ever existed, and it's something that we do on a regular basis. So it just makes sense to build on top of that, build on top of something that we already do. So it's all about, it's not really about changing the way that customers are talking to their friends and family about a specific product, but to increase it. How can we make it more attractive for customers to refer their friends? How can we make it? How can we remind them that there's a referral program for a brand that they love, and so their friends and family could also love it? So it's all about creating different incentives on top of something that we already do on a regular basis. So that's why it works so well.
That's a really clear distinction you talk about here about incentives. Before we go there, I'd like to understand, in your understanding, what's the difference between word of mouth and referral marketing? Because I hear that being used as the same thing, but there's a distinction, right?
Yeah. So word of mouth is it's the egg, right? That's what comes first. It's it's something that just happens organically. And when I talk to merchants that are thinking about running a referral program, I typically tell them, look, you've been around, you've run your business for a few years now. You have a daily or like a steady number of customers coming in every day and making purchases. If you're not necessarily a mature business, but if you are kind of past that startup stage and you have kind of like a recurring flow of orders, you definitely have word of mouth happening in your store. Your customers are definitely talking to their friends and family about it, because the same way that we talk about what Netflix show we're watching right now, we talk about things that we're buying online. So those recommendations are happening. Now, the difference is that if you don't have a referral system or some sort of structure, it doesn't have to be ReferralCandy or a referral software. It could be something as simple as creating coupon codes and keeping track of those on a spreadsheet, right? Which is not the easiest way to run a program, but it definitely happens. If you don't have any sort of referral system in place, it's really hard for you to know how many customers are you acquiring through referrals or through word of mouth in this case. So referral marketing, it's something that you build on top of word of mouth. So again, those referral incentives, like get $10 for every friend that you refer, or get 20% of your friend's order as a cash reward for every friend that you refer, or to get a discount, whatever it is. That's an incentive that's going to incentivize somebody to go out and refer their friends, or maybe to post it on social media, or maybe create a blog post about it, or go on Instagram Live and talk about your product if they have a large follower base. So that's the kind of like the incentives is part of it. Also, basically everything that you build on top of your referral program. So all the landing pages, emails, etc., everything that you build to remind your customers about the existence of the referral program. That's what we consider referral marketing.
I know of a few brands who do referral marketing really well, and there are a bunch of. This is what I saw an article on your site, which shows I think like 20 brands that are just killing it, or even 50 brands. But in your experience, what makes referral programs fail? Like, what are the mistakes that some brands, startups are doing, or when they're getting into it? Sometimes I've seen established brands launch referral programs that suck. That just don't. Like, it's not. We kind of think of Dropbox did. Like that's kind of like the shining example of a referral program that went bananas and obviously grew rapidly. But can you speak to some of the mistakes you've seen and what would actually kill a referral program?
I would say that the most common reason for a referral program not to work, well, actually, let me start by saying that a lot of referral programs don't work because the company isn't ready for a referral program. So a referral program, it's not going to solve an issue that you currently have on your store. If your customers are not happy with your product, if they're not leaving good reviews, a referral program is not going to change that, because giving an incentive or giving $50 to somebody to refer their friends when they're actually not happy with the purchase they made, they're not going to recommend your product. Quite the opposite. So not being ready, it's probably not the most common one, because brands know when their customers love their product and when they're getting good reviews and the customer support chats are positive, and so they know when they're ready to launch a referral program. But I always like to remind that in the sense that referral marketing builds on top of something that should already happen on your online store, which is word of mouth. So yeah, that's something that, in my opinion, it's always good to keep in mind. But the most common reason for a referral program not to work is lack of promotion. So if you're not letting your customers know that you have a referral program, and that could be in the shape of a referral email after a purchase, or with a pop-up on your site, either after they go through checkout or somewhere on your homepage, or some sort of widget or some sort of dedicated landing page on your site that tells either customers or website visitors that you have a referral program, let alone any sort of social media promotion or newsletter mentions, anything along those lines. If you don't have any sort of that promotion happening, your customers are not going to be aware of it, and they're not going to join. They're not going to refer their friends. So you'd be surprised. That's actually probably the most common example of what makes a referral program not work. And then kind of addressing the last point, I thought it was really interesting when you mentioned about brands having, or bigger companies having, referral programs that are not good. Another thing that I see, and again, this is probably not with our customer base, because ReferralCandy is kind of built to make things easy on purpose. It's what bigger companies tend to have referral programs that are, or even loyalty programs as well, that are a little bit too difficult. It's difficult for customers to earn rewards. It might be a big reward, but you might have to do a lot of different things. You might have to refer a lot of friends, and your friends might have to spend a lot of money in order to be able to get that big reward. And I've seen that with companies. I won't name them, obviously, but companies that I personally love, that have really good products, but their referral programs just are terrible, right? And it's hard for me to believe that they're actually working as well as they should. So yeah, that was a really good point, and definitely something that doesn't happen as much with smaller brands, but yeah, on an enterprise level, it's quite common, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think there's just an assumption that we have, if we've got product market fit and we have the right, obviously we've got growing revenue and these things are consistent and the marketing engine's working, and therefore if we just put up a referral or ambassador program or a loyalty program, that all of our buyers are just going to jump on that. And you're right. If there's too many hoops to jump through, like, do you remember if we go back 10 years ago, when your opt-in forms were much more complex? It was like, let's put in your email, your phone number, your address, all these different details, and then over time it's just simplified down to just give me your email address, because people don't want to fill it out. It's just too much unless the reward is high enough, right? If it's like, if I feel I'm going to win a Tesla, right? Okay, maybe I'm going to,
sure,
right? Yeah, right. So versus, okay, you're giving me a $100 Amazon voucher. Like it's the reward is, the incentive is kind of important, to the success of the program. What have you seen in terms of incentives work, and what doesn't work?
I would say that and kind of following up on the last point that we were discussing, in my opinion, and this is a personal opinion, but it's also based on what I've seen on ReferralCandy customers, it's better to give a small reward often than giving a big reward after referring a large number of friends. Mostly because we all love getting something. I mean, that's the beauty of rewards, when you're not expecting it, or when you're referring a friend and you're getting something out of it, but you could have also refer a friend just because you're recommending a good product, or something that your friends are going to love, and you would have done it anyway, but you're still getting a reward. So your customers are going to be happy to receive it, even if it's small. That's another that's also something that a lot of brands think, that they need to give something big in order to get their customers to refer. And a lot of times, as long as you give something, your customers are gonna appreciate it. So yeah, my opinion, it's better to give something small but often, rather than making it really difficult to get a big reward. But in terms of rewards that work well, obviously it depends of the company and what the product is, but I would say that there's a couple of things that we typically tell merchants to keep in mind, kind of as a rule of thumb, on how to set up referral rewards. The first one is to look at your customers' purchase behavior, and the reason why I'm saying this is because you can optimize your rewards to increase the lifetime value of both the existing customer and also the friend. If you have customers that are coming back to your store to buy from you on a somewhat regular basis, even more if they're on a subscription, it's good to give them a discount on a future purchase for every friend that they refer. In that case, they will be not only incentivized to refer a friend, but also once they get this discount, they're going to want to redeem it by buying from you. So they're not even going to consider going with a competitor, because now they have a discount that probably a lot of other customers can have access to, because they haven't referred a friend. So it makes them feel kind of special. On the other hand, if you're selling something that your customers are not going to buy anytime soon, then it's better to give maybe some sort of gift or a cash reward. And nobody's going to say no to cash. So that's something that actually works really well. So that kind of rule of thumb in terms of purchasing behavior can help a lot, in the sense that you're incentivizing your customers to not only refer, but to come back for more. So in my opinion, that's kind of like the baseline of what you should be thinking about. Now, in terms of actual rewards, actual numbers, that really depends on your own kind of profit margin that you can afford to give. Depends on the nature of your product, but those are things that can be tweaked later on. But kind of like the structure, that's kind of the typical structure that we typically recommend. And I'll actually mention one more thing. A lot of times customers refer because they want to provide something valuable to their friends. So I've seen a lot of brands giving a bigger incentive to the friend to make that first purchase, rather than the commission to the customer that's making the recommendation. I've seen a lot of referral programs work really well, giving that bigger discount to the friend.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because I've seen it's like a two-tier reward system, because it's like I'm rewarding the person who's giving the referral, but I'm also rewarding the person referring it to, which is a new customer. So it becomes a customer acquisition. But I like that it's both acquisition and retention, because by actually giving a discount or some kind of incentive to the referrer, that's actually a retention strategy. So that's a very smart way to do that. And I also like your point about considering your profit margin and how much you have in terms of budget to allocate to these rewards, because that's I've made that mistake before, where it's like, okay, I'll put out an affiliate program or referral program, and then I didn't consider that, hey, that's really that additional 20% discount that I'm offering here, plus the 20% I'm giving to the referee, that's 40%, right? And that's actually a marketing expense. So that's going to hit my sales, my profit margin. And so you got to really think about your numbers around when you're setting this up. So thanks for sharing that. We talked about what kind of makes a good referral program. We talked about incentives. So, and you also shared about mistakes you've seen brands making. So, just to clarify, like, when is the right time to start a referral program, Raul?
Yeah. So, that's a really good question. I would say, I don't want to sound biased, but I would say that it's not necessarily ever a bad time to launch a referral program. It just depends on the type of results that you're going to get in the kind of like short-term future. When is it a good time? I would say that if you are a startup and you have just launched your product, and maybe we're talking about e-commerce, you're getting, let's say, less than 100 orders per month. I'm not saying that it's a bad time to launch a referral program, but it's definitely going to take a while to see any meaningful results coming from referrals. And the reason why I'm saying this is because at the end of the day, referral programs are a numbers game. So if you ask your customers, excuse me. Something in my throat for some reason. If you ask your customers, how willing are you to refer us to your friends and family? Run a typical Net Promoter Score survey, and you get, let's say, 9. Kind of like the most common answer is 9. So 9 out of 10 customers would refer their friends to your store. Now the reality is that only a fraction of those customers that are saying that they will refer their friends are actually gonna do it. And it doesn't mean that they don't like your company or that they don't like your product. It just means that we're just busy on our daily lives, and so we just tend to forget. So that's why I also mentioned earlier that promoting your referral program, it's one of the main drivers of success, because people are busy. People are not necessarily thinking about the referral program that you're running, and so giving that kind of constant reminder is definitely going to help them, or it's going to help stay top of mind. So next time that they see a friend, they will mention it. So that's why I say that it depends on the number of orders or the number of new customers that you get on a daily or a monthly basis. Is going to affect the number of customers that join your referral program, the number of customers that end up referring a link sharing their link, and the number of customers that actually end up making those referrals because the friend have clicked on the referral link and then made a purchase. So anything under 100 orders a month, I think it's going to be difficult to see results. Now, if you are over 500 orders a month, over 1,000 orders a month, it's definitely the right time. That's the sweet spot to launch a referral program, because you're probably going to see results within a matter of weeks or maybe months at the latest.
Mm-hmm. I really like just giving people guidelines around what to aim for, what to shoot for, because if we don't have an idea, and this is obviously, it's going to be contextual and different to your industry and what you're selling, and also how responsive your list is, and there's all these different factors when it comes to marketing. But certainly, if you understand, you're getting that volume of orders, it makes sense. So you're doing something right, because word of mouth is happening, and therefore, why not have a system for doing that? So if someone's listening to this and they're going, okay, yeah, that sounds like me, our brand's kind of there. What are the steps that they would take to set up a referral program?
So we've actually made it very simple for brands to set up and run a referral program with ReferralCandy. So what I will do is to recommend them to go to referralcandy.com and create an account. Depending on the platform that they're using, they might have to follow a slightly different onboarding process, mostly because we integrate with the store. And so there's little differences whether you're on Shopify or WooCommerce or BigCommerce, or if you have your own custom store built as well. So it kind of depends. So just better to see what are the different steps for all of them. But if you're on any of the 3 major platforms, so Shopify, you can just install it from the Shopify App Store. WooCommerce, just install the plugin. So pretty simple. After that, after you have connected ReferralCandy to your store, you need to first of all set up your rewards. So what are you going to give your customers to incentivize them to refer their friends, and also what are you going to give their friends to incentivize them to make that first purchase? So we give several different options: coupon codes, cash, custom rewards, so they can kind of go through that and figure out what's kind of like the best mix for their store. And then after that, as I said, promotion is key. So we provide merchants with a set of email templates and landing pages that kind of like take different parts of the referral funnel. And so instead of having to modify all these pages, we've made it very simple for them. They can just upload a logo and a banner, and we take care of the rest. We apply that to all the different marketing assets that come with the referral program. And after that, it's just a matter of launching the program. We take care of automatically inviting customers to join the referral program after they make a purchase. They can also add a call to action on the homepage, so visitors can also read about it and join. But we keep the process on autopilot. We invite customers after purchase to join the referral program. We give them a unique referral link. They share that referral link with a friend. A friend clicks on the link and they make a purchase using the coupon code that has been given to them. We track the whole referral system, and we automatically also send the rewards to the customer that made the referral in the first place. So it's all automated. Oh, and the friend that made the first purchase gets automatically invited to join the program. So the cycle kind of starts all over again. So yeah, just setting up the rewards and setting up the emails and templates. It's all they really need to do.
That's really, so I'm just going to recap that. So, step one, if you want to go to referralcandy.com, you can set up an account there. Once you're in there, now you're thinking about step two is rewards. Okay, what are rewards going to be? You can put those into the system. Step three would be promotion. And this, I think you can't, people can underestimate what's involved in this process, which is, writing emails. Do you offer templates or anything like that people can kind of use?
Yeah, so we have pre-built templates. And so whenever you change the rewards, the templates get automatically changed as well. So, everything, okay. Yeah, we've built it in a way that's very, very automated. So merchants don't have to spend a lot of time setting this thing up.
And in this step, in the promotion step, I'm curious about how partnerships come into play. So is there, have you seen brands work really well with partners? They already have existing partners and whatnot, or reaching out to new partners and saying, hey, we're launching a referral program. Would you be involved in or do you want to be involved in that launch? Have you seen that work well?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good question. One of the biggest trends that I'm seeing right now is companies that are using ReferralCandy to run a traditional customer referral program, but they're also using ReferralCandy to run influencer programs. So if they're working with influencers, so the way that brands typically work with influencers is that they pay them in exchange for a post or a series of posts or some sort of content that they're going to create and post on their typically Instagram, and then kind of wait for conversions, or kind of hope that kind of content is going to convert. So it's kind of hard for brands to see what's the direct translation from that investment into actual sales. And so what a lot of brands are doing right now is that they're using ReferralCandy to run influencer programs. So instead, they're convincing influencers to join their program. They get a unique referral link, and then they can start referring people on, or whether it's on Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is. So those type of partnerships are working really well right now, because again, it's more fair for everybody. The influencer now has an incentive to actually generate sales. The brand is happy because now they're paying not necessarily just a fixed budget and then hoping that the ROI will be positive after the campaign is over, but now they're paying based on actual conversion. So even for the influencer as well, now they have the potential of earning maybe lifetime commissions, or maybe kind of like some sort of steady affiliate income from the brand. So it's something that's definitely, I don't think there's a single week in which I don't see a brand reaching out to us because they want to launch a referral program and an affiliate program at the same time. So that's probably the most common scenario that I'm seeing these days.
Yeah, I think those activations are really smart, and it's I'm thinking of like a local ice cream shop here, or actually they sell gelato, and they do brand activations with influencers. And I know one of the challenges for those type of activations, as you say, is actually tracking, is this actually working, right? Like we invest, what a traditional way of influencer marketing is, we'll pay you, a certain amount of money or certain incentives. You go do the post or do the content and put it out to your audience, and then we'll fingers crossed, get some wins from that. But I think you're having a system like ReferralCandy and the tracking that's embedded within that makes it a lot easier. Like you can actually go, well, here's your referral link, use this, and then we'll see exactly what happens when your content goes out, right? Like it's much easier to track over time as well. So that's really sophisticated, and it's a great strategy. Speaking of ROI, so how do you actually, how do we measure the ROI of a referral program?
Revenue. How much revenue is the referral program generating for the store? That's the number one thing that we look at. That when you create a ReferralCandy account, that's the first thing that you're going to see on your dashboard is how much money have you made in the past month using ReferralCandy. And there's after that we look at other metrics like what's the percentage of referral orders compared to the total number of orders that you're getting, how many new customers you have in the program, how many emails have been sent, open rates, etc. But the number one thing that we look at and that we use to measure the performance of the program is revenue. Something particularly interesting, in my opinion, about referral revenue is that revenue is coming from new customers. So it's actually new revenue. So these are customers that the revenue that you've generated this month, let's say $10,000 from your referral program, that's coming just from new customers that last month they didn't know about your brand or they hadn't bought from you before.
Yeah.
And so those are customers that are likely going to stay. They're likely going to, if your product allows it, they're going to buy from you again in the future. And there's actually multiple studies that say that customers that buy something and they've been incentivized by a referral, they're likely going to spend more and stay longer as a customer, just because the intent that they have by the time they reach your store, it's a lot higher than if they came from, obviously from ads, but also even from organic search. And the fact that somebody made a personal recommendation about a particular product adds a lot of intent and increases the chances of having that person stay with you for a long time. Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, all right. I'm playing around with this platform. Okay, I've brought up this. Yeah, and that's a really good point about tracking the right things, and obviously revenue is the measure. That's the key, performance indicator for any referral program. I think we can get very caught. And this is the issue we had with influencer marketing was, oh, they have 1 million followers, right? And we kind of like, okay, if we can get the product in front of 1 million followers, we're doing good. But that doesn't translate always to that's revenue. And so, to your point, yeah, what we're looking for is, okay, is this campaign, is it generating sales, right? Do we need to tweak it? Do we need to whatever it may be? And we can look at our analytics and I'm sure reporting within the system to determine, okay, which if we worked with three influencers, which campaign worked the best, or it could be seasonal, or it could be there's different variations. But I love that you mentioned that. I've brought up the website referralcandy.com. I think yeah, it's a good starting point for anyone listening to this. If you want to jump over there, there's also a I believe down the bottom here there's a guide. Yeah. How it works, so you get your pricing, all these sort of things. I saw a guide to starting a referral program in here somewhere as well.
Oh, it's probably on the resources section.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to resources, you can go into there. There's really great content around here. The blog's awesome. Now, I wanted to sort of just ask you about the way you're using, and maybe you're not the right person to answer this question, but case studies, right? So this is something that I'm doing some research on. It's part of a book that I'm writing. And the reason I wanted to talk to ReferralCandy and you specifically was because I can see that in your content strategy, you are actually utilizing, you've got these top brands that we work with, or you talked about the integration stack and the integration partners. You've got those, which is awesome. And then you've got a good video here on the site, which explains sort of, the software and how it works. And then down here, there's a section here, which is all about, let's share some wins and talk about our customer success and the different brands we're working with. So how important is sharing customer wins, to your marketing and just from what you've seen over the years?
I mean, we're in the business of social proof, so we have to do it ourselves as well. I think it's extremely important that we'll never have enough case studies. And that's kind of like, talking from a sales and marketing perspective. That's probably the number one item that customers look at when they are at any stage of the funnel. And I get to talk to a lot of leads that are just considering running a referral program, whether they're coming from watching a webinar that I'm part of, or maybe they're coming from an agency. So I'm talking to these companies that are not they're thinking about it. They're not convinced yet about whether they want to run a referral program or not. And one of the most common questions that often come up is, do you have any case studies that I can look at? And more specifically, do you have any case studies of companies like me, like from the same industry or the same geography, whatever it is. So it's extremely important. And as you can see, most of our case studies include actual numbers, because we like the narrative of explaining how a referral program is working. But we always like to include numbers on what's the actual performance that the referral program saw. So yeah, it's crucial in my opinion for any marketing strategy, not necessarily just for us, but for anybody. Any sort of social proof that you can include, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah, and I just like the breakdown. I want people to sort of pay attention, or listeners here to pay attention to the structure of how these are done. And you mentioned sort of the key metrics, the numbers, sharing those, but even just I'm looking at the way the page is laid out, and it's it's got visuals. You've got what does the website look like? How are they integrating the referral program? Because you talked about the importance of putting it on your website, having it in pop-ups, emails. If you having some kind of email system that sets up every time someone makes a purchase, you mention in the email, hey, we've got this reward for you if you refer someone. I think these are really intelligent ways to do it, and I just love the way these case studies are structured. Right, you've even got the opt-in page here for the sharing page, or for this particular brand, and you've got a quote from the customer. Like these are just fantastic, right? And then what I like, being that you are a SaaS company, is that you've got screenshots of actually different parts of your platform that people can see. This is, if you go into ReferralCandy and you set up your program, you're going to be able to do these things. You can choose between cash and percentage discount and dollar discount and custom gifts and whatnot. And so, and this is what it looks like when the email comes out, or when they get to the landing page, right? Like that's really, really cool. And I even love this screenshot of the post the brand put onto social media, and you can see this obviously worked for them because they got results, right? So you can get examples of. I think people struggle with how do I actually promote the referral program? What should I put on social media? Do I just say, hey, come in, we've got this referral link, click on my link, right? But if you can be very clear, this is if you join our program and you refer someone, this is the benefit to you, and make that short and succinct. Obviously, this is a food brand, so you've got some nice picture of food here, and it's making me hungry. And then the call to action right down here, down the bottom. So this is fantastic, Raul. Awesome. So let me just stop sharing here. So referralcandy.com, everyone that's listening, jump over to the site. We're going to deviate from, like you've just shared, just some tremendous, value on setting up a referral program, how to go about it, how should we think about incentives, who's the best for these sort of things. We're going to wrap up with just your perspective on a couple of things related to marketing, because obviously you're in the partnerships world, and you've also come from sales, which actually it's like a superpower, someone who understands both sales and marketing, because you understand the challenges of the integration of both, right? So can we just, I'd like to hear from you, how do you, well, let's understand, what's your marketing tech stack look like? Like what are your favorite tools? What are you actually using to drive the engine at ReferralCandy?
Honestly, the centerpiece of our marketing strategy right now is our blog. And I was happy to hear that you mentioned that we have a great blog, and it actually is. I'm probably sound biased here, but it actually is something that we've put a lot of work over the past. Honestly, from the very beginning, our number one strategy and something that we started with and we've continued to do over the past over 10 years, is to put content out there that it's useful and it's educational for e-commerce merchants or for marketing professionals. Obviously, we read a lot about referral marketing and word of mouth and influencer marketing and kind of everything that goes under the umbrella of word of mouth. But we also write about anything that could be useful for e-commerce merchants or e-commerce entrepreneurs or people that are getting started, taking the first steps. We also do the opposite of creating more in-depth pieces for people that have been in the industry for a while, or like state of the industry type of reports. So it's helped us a lot to acquire new customers, not only for like the kind of like the initial lead part, but also lead generation part, but also as we go kind of like lower down the funnel. I found it myself from like a sales perspective very useful to share specific articles from our blog that explain maybe certain questions that have come up during calls with potential merchants. So yeah, that's the number one part of our marketing stack. We also do obviously ads. It's something that we definitely do. We also leverage partnerships in the sense of not only agencies, as I mentioned, but also the partnerships that we have with e-commerce platforms such as Shopify, for example, has been crucial in the growth of ReferralCandy, and honestly any company that is growing under the Shopify brand. So yeah, I would say it's kind of like the main summary of how we typically attract customers. But yeah, what you're seeing right now, the blog is probably the number one thing that myself and the marketing team are most proud of.
And I know one of my friends, Alfred Lua, has joined the team more recently. And he came over he was with Buffer for a while, and then he came over to your team, and he's just a gun when it comes to content and community. So I wanted to talk about that. Like how do you view community, and how is that important for building a business and a brand?
I mean, if you do it well, and if you manage to build a community around your brand, that is the impact that's going to have in your business. It's going to be tremendous. We actually have a few case studies on our website that talk about how specific brands have been able to build a community around within their customer base. I mean, think about it. You have you're basically finding a way to create a deeper connection with your customers beyond your product, beyond your company. You're connecting with your customers because, let's say, your company mission resonates with something that they're passionate about. If you can find that level of personal connection with your customers, and even more, if you can let your customers know that same passion or those thoughts are shared by other people that are also part of the customer base, and you can create, whether it's a physical community like a Facebook group or a Slack community, whatever it is, or maybe just put content out there on your website that speaks to that particular audience. That's going to be huge. And since we're talking about referral marketing, we're always trying to get the most loyal customers as possible, right? Like get them so excited about your brand that they will just continue to talk to their friends and family about it. And if you are creating that personal connection with your customers, now they're going to have an additional reason to refer. They're not only going to talk about your product, like, oh, I bought this t-shirt on this website, it's great, great quality, you should buy it. And it's the explanation is going to be a lot deeper. They're going to say, oh, I bought it from this company, and their company mission is this, or they're involved in X other project, or this is what they're doing to give back to the communities that they're working with. The explanation gets a lot richer. So yeah, the companies that have been able to do it very well, it's definitely paid off for them. There's one example. This is from a big company, so it might not resonate directly to smaller businesses, but I remember during the 2016 election in 2016 election in the US. Yeah, I was thinking about whether it was in 2020, but no, it was in the 2016 one. Patagonia, which is one of my favorite brands, they took a stand, a political stand, and they were facing the risk of potentially alienating half of their customer base, and they still did it. But they didn't necessarily do it for the marketing stunt, because other brands have tried to do it, and it kind of backfired to them, and customers can tell when somebody's trying to fake a marketing message and disguise it as a political stand. But they did it, and it worked really well for them. So that's just one example of companies looking for that personal connection with their customers, and if it's honest, it's definitely going to work. Something that I see, kind of like probably the most common example that I see, is companies just being proud about the fact that they are a small company. We're a small business. We're a group of 5 humans here that are trying to build this thing, and we're happy to share our story with you. That's something that resonates a lot with a lot of customers, because it creates empathy. So
yeah, I really like those examples, and I think leaning into your strengths, or seeing what you are as, that's a strength. Like it's cool that we're a 5-person company or a 10-person company. It's actually, it makes us nimble. It makes us so we can operate faster than a 1,000-person company. We can make changes. We can do certain things. Then also you spoke to the example of Patagonia. To me, speaks to understanding what your mission is as a company, and why you're doing the work that you do, right? And it's consistent. So for Patagonia to do that campaign, or to come out with that message at that time, it makes sense for them, because they've already been speaking about the environment, the impacts of what they do, and that's already been I mean, if you look at the founder origin story, it goes back to this guy was hiking or whatever it was, and it was already and he was seeing the world changing through climate change and these sort of things. So it makes sense, right? And where brands fail is when they it's Black Lives Matter, and we're going to put a black post on social media, just to show our support of the message. But if we look at your feed over the last 2 years, you've never done anything like that. So it's obviously a PR stunt, right? So you got to be consistent with your messaging. So very good points. I noticed on your under your resources on the website, you've got this e-commerce 100K summit. What's that about?
Oh, that was actually something that we did a few years ago, that we interviewed, and we still have the link there because it's really good content. We interviewed a lot of different experts on e-commerce, so from founders to e-commerce store founders and entrepreneurs, to also kind of like marketing consultants and people that just knew a lot about the industry. So yeah, we still we did that a few years ago, but the content's really good, and some of the content's still evergreen in my opinion. Even though it's been a while, it's still relevant, so we kept it there. Something I would like to kind of mention that we do have on the website that we launched recently. I'm just we're all really excited about. I don't know if you saw kind of like the blue bar that we have on the top of the website. But we're launching a grant for small businesses. So we're going to choose one impactful business and that operates in the e-commerce space, obviously, and we're going to give them $10,000 to grow their business. And so that's something we launched literally a week ago, and yeah, we're pretty excited about it. See how that goes.
That's really cool. So $10,000 grant, or up to $10,000 grant for one brand to increase their impact, which is really awesome. And I know we've got some listeners here who would be all over that. So I'm going to make sure I send these to the specific brands and make sure that they apply for the grant. When is that? When's the deadline for that?
The deadline is on until the 1st of March. So we have like one more week, I think.
Awesome. Okay. Well, so if you're interested in applying for the grant, please head over to referralcandy.com. We'll link to it anyway, but definitely if you're a brand and this resonates with you, take advantage of that. And I think that it's a great initiative coming from Referral Candy as well. Let's wrap up this conversation. I wanted to just end with more of a personal question, which is, it's become, I guess, the most popular question on the podcast, which is why I leave it to the end. But what's sort of two questions. One is, what's a resource that's really helped you to become better at what you do? So whether it's at marketing or sales or whatever it is, or partnerships or referrals, what's the resource, whether it's a book, a podcast, a documentary, anything that you can recommend to others?
I personally find a lot of value on, not necessarily on, well, I mean, I also do on content, whether it's podcasts or blogs. Um, but it's something that I particularly love is being part of communities of people that work in the same industry as I do or work in the same field. So I'm part of several, mostly Slack communities, for from people that work in the DTC world and e-commerce, or people that work in partnerships, or just e-commerce tech companies in general. So it's really useful for a lot of reasons, from kind of finding relevant information to staying updated on what's coming up next, hiring even. So it definitely is helpful, and it's definitely something that I like to be part of. There's a lot of communities that are really active, and I guess it depends on what kind of industry you're participating in, or what your role is. But I mean, there's a community for anything these days, so so
Yeah,
I
that's
recommend
good.
everybody to.
Can you name some of those communities, particularly for the ecom
Yeah.
ones? Because I know some listeners here would be interested in those.
Yeah, so there's one called DTC Fam, and it's a Slack community. Then there's another one, well, for Shopify merchants. Um, there's one. Actually, let me look at the name real quick, so I can share the exact name. Well, I think it's a Shopify partners community, so people that have either Shopify agencies or Shopify apps. Oh, Shopify partners Slack community. Um, One of my favorite ones is it's called Partner League, and it's a community of mostly e-commerce agencies and also Shopify apps. So kind of like the one thing that we all have in common is that we're all Shopify partners.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of like an unofficial partner Slack, but it works. I particularly love it, and the founder of Partner League is also the founder of Hey Carson, which is one of the most uh, most important kind of agencies in the Shopify space. And so yeah, I would say yeah, DTC Fam, partner league, and also the Shopify partner Slack community.
Yeah, I know Shopify. I think Hey Carson might have a Facebook group as well, but
Yep.
I think the Slack community is probably more active.
Yep.
That's really cool. Okay, final question for you, Raul. In terms of just maintaining your own personal well-being, what's one thing that you do for mental health?
I something I actually did a couple years ago was to remove a lot of social media profiles that I had. I was I realized that I was spending way too much time on my phone in general, and specifically I was spending a lot of time on Twitter, which I know it can be useful, but at the same time I found it kind of draining, and so I replaced that for books. I realized that I hadn't read, and I actually read a whole book in a long time. So in 2020, I literally started reading at least one book per month, and I continue to do so. And I'm glad that I did that, because I was the time that I used to spend on Twitter, now I spend it reading, and it's something that helps me a lot, and I'm glad that I made that decision. So
That's very cool, man. Do you like the physical book in your hand, or do you do the Kindle thing? What's your preference?
I do. I'm a physical book guy, but I mean, I used to bring books with me in my backpack, because I've been traveling for a long time. I would always have a book in my suitcase or in my backpack. But the reality is that it takes space and they're heavy. So I finally gave up. I on yeah. I mean, if I like a book, I'll still buy it on physical just to have it. But now I'm on Kindle, and yeah, I mean, I gotta admit it. It's pretty cool.
But I think there's always. I mean, I'm the same when I'm traveling. I like to have the book, especially because there's a lot of downtime, right? You're sitting in an airport
Yeah,
or you're on a
exactly. Yeah.
bus or whatever. That really works really well. Has there been a book that you've read? Since you switched over to the books, has there been sort of one book that stands out for you in terms of just an impact or insight or whatever it may be for you? Just really enjoyed it.
That's a really good question. There is. I mean, there's. I mean, I can't really think of one name right now, but I will. Okay. I'm gonna recommend two novels that I've read in the past year. They're not necessarily e-commerce or marketing related or anything, just fun novels.
Yeah.
So one that I read last year, it's actually pretty old. It's the Bonfire of the Vanities. Don't watch the movie. but the book is really good. So and it's a classic. So I definitely recommend that one. It was really fun to read. And then I recently, actually, Alfred Lua, but you mentioned that you know him. He recommended this novel called Dark Matter. So if you're into like the parallel universes and stuff like that, it's a pretty fun book to read. And then well, there's two authors or three authors that I particularly love. One of them is Robert Greene, which is the guy that wrote the 48 Laws of Power, the 33 Laws of War. Oh, sorry, what's it called, like Lessons of War, something like that. But he has a bunch of different books. Mastery. They're all really good. They're pretty long, but it's actually filled with a lot of different like historical references and stuff, and they're really cool. I recommend pretty much any of them. Nassim Taleb, we all know him. I can totally recommend him. And then I also like Michael Lewis a lot. He recently just published a book about the pandemic, the early days of the pandemic, interviewing different people in the US that saw it coming before anybody else, and it was pretty cool. I think it's called The Premonition. Yeah, I can totally recommend that one.
That's really cool. And I like just the variety of what you read, because it's a mix. I mean, obviously, and you allow your brain and your mind to go to different places. So you're not kind of locked. Like for me, my problem has been just too much, business content, too much that kind of stuff. And I just want the escape. I guess probably that's why I'm so into Netflix, because I watch these crazy stories and, people killing each other and all kinds of weird stuff that my wife hates. But it just takes me away and goes, okay, finally nothing helps us to just expand, our awareness of things. So thanks for the recommendations. They're awesome, man. I really appreciate you for joining us today. It's been a great conversation. So everyone, if you want to head over to referralcandy.com, you can connect with Raul there and the team, but also check out all the resources, get started with referral marketing. And if you have any questions at all, please reach out to them. They do also have social media accounts. I think it's Twitter, even though that's probably not Raul behind it. But a really great team and fun to have you on today. Thanks, Raul.
Thanks for having me.
All good. Everyone else, subscribe, share, do all the things, and we'll be back again with another cool guest and another cool topic real soon.